It is so good to be with you guys. I tell you, this week has been truly challenging. Anybody else been feeling the vibe of this week? And you know what? Has anybody seen that movie, The Forge? Have you guys gone out to see The Forge? Look, that's a whole other conversation, isn't it? Yeah, I see you nodding your head, Miracle. Rukama, you saw it as well? You saw The Forge? No? Dr. Mary, you saw it? Oh, girl, sis, oh my goodness, I am sitting there just. I went with a whole bunch of sisters, and we're sitting there. By a whole bunch, I mean two other sisters. And we had the entire theater to ourselves. Praise God. Because when I tell you, this soldier was boo hooing. So if you guys haven't had an opportunity to see the movie The Forge, because I don't want to ruin it by sharing any scenes, please get out and go see it before it disappears in your theater. It will be a great way for you guys to also fellowship with your sisters, with your friends, your congregations, your churches at a higher level. Okay, so listen, today, loves, let me go ahead and share scripture, and then we're going to go ahead and circle back to our admin and then get into some really good stuff. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes today. So the first scripture I want to share with you, I want to jump over into Corinthians. Let's see. Here we go. Yes. The book of First Corinthians. Let's go to chapter 14 and then the verse 40. And I'm going to be reading from the New King James Version, which says, let some things be done decently in order. No, it doesn't say let some things. Let a few things be done decently and in order. No, not just a few. No. What does it say, powerhouses? All things, let all things be done decently and in order. Okay, hold that thought. Let me go to my next verse here. We're going to jump over to, let me move this out the way and actually get my board over here. We're going to jump over here to good old Ecclesiastes. And we're going to go to 3 and 1. Here we go. Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. It says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Now, what are you saying, Coach Queen? Why do you have us reading these two particular verses? I am inspired by these verses because, one, it reminds us that time is critical. Time is critical. Stop wasting your time. We know that God operates outside of time, right? God doesn't operate like we do with time. But we know that time is critical. And also, it is a reminder to work smarter, not harder. And so it is with that spirit today that I'm going to introduce four models of business, of things that needs to be scheduled throughout your calendar. Because things that get scheduled gets done. If it is not on your calendar, guess what? It is not going to get done, powerhouses. Those of you that are saying, oh, well, I have inspirations of writing a book. I have inspirations of launching my own workshop. I have inspirations of launching a business. I have inspirations of doing charity work or diving into philanthropy. If it ain't on your calendar, it ain't happening, my loves. It's just not, because we can't use this as a filing cabinet. We just can't. And so I need for you to get into the groove, into the mood, into the habits of plotting things on your calendar. And even more so, after I introduce these concepts to you, loves, I want you to then start thinking about how you can take these concepts and expand them out a year, next year. And the way I'm thinking right now, I'm already in the next decade. Like, let me ask you something. How much time would it free you up from if you just simply laid your clothes out for the week? How many of you just you're running behind just because you're trying to figure out what to wear? You're like me, you got a closet filled with clothes, but you ain't got nothing to wear. Anybody else like that? But if you simply just take the time to put just something as small as that. When I was in the military, we had a saying. We would ask our privates, our soldiers, we would say, raise your hand if you ever got bitten by an elephant. And people would just look curious. The soldiers of formations would say, of course, I've never been bitten by an elephant. No. But have you ever been bitten by ants? And almost everybody can raise their hands. And so the takeaway is, it ain't the big things, it's the little things that get us, right? And so I want you to just start thinking about those little things that if you were just simply to plot them out, would absolutely help you to get there. Okay, so if this is your first time with me on this platform, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. Where are my first timers at? Let me open up the chat so I can see it. First timers. I love how Zoom has just went in and just changed so much on my screen without me knowing it. Hey, welcome, Savannah. Welcome. Welcome, Ashley and Chelsea, Miracle, Tatiana. Welcome, everyone. Now, let me say, while you're here, please turn on your cameras if you can. But if you can't, I completely understand. I'm happy to have you however I can have you. We don't force you into the spotlight here, but you are here to help work on your speaking game, to help work on your coaching game for those of you that want to be life coaches. And let me just gently remind you right now that if you do have your heart set on becoming a life coach, you do not have to go to any special schools. You don't have to go to a 2-year university. You don't have to have any credentials. You can decide to open up a sign, open up a business today at 3 o'clock that says, I'm a life coach, and you are legit to go. All a life coach is someone who pushes other people to be better than themselves. If you are someone who pushes other people to be better, and I guarantee you, you're just not getting paid for it. So you don't recognize that you are a life coach. If you are already pushing folks to be bigger and better than who they are, you're already coaching. And you don't even have to use the word coach. Some people feel like I can't get into the feel of this thing, coach. That's absolutely fine. There are so many other monikers out there. You could be a mentor, a strategist, an advocate. I mean, it's so many other monikers, titles that you can use. But what it really amounts to is that you are still a coach. So absolutely consider that, especially for those of you that are living paycheck to paycheck, those of you that want to supplement some income, those of you that want to be on a track to create first generational wealth in your family, those of you that just want your kids to look up at you with some type of an awe of inspiration. Coaching is a great thing to do. And you can either, just a recap of some of the other classes that we have. If you're trying to decide within what niche you fall in, let me say this: the human race wants to succeed in what 3 areas of their life? Somebody put it in the chat. There are 3 areas where everyone, I don't care who you are, 3 areas that everyone in the human race, that we want to succeed in these 3 areas or these 3 sectors. What are they? Let me go to the chat and see if we have any. Okay. Let me put on my glasses. I think I see them. Yeah, Auntie D. Yes. Auntie D got the first 2. Wait. No, Dr. Seegers. Yes. Health, wealth, Aunt D. Yes, finances. I see the elations. I see that you were putting relations, Dr. Mary. Yes, relationships. Yes, health, wealth, and relationships. Those 3 sectors. I don't care who you are. Everyone wants to succeed in areas of health, areas of wealth, and areas of relationships. And almost everybody has some issues, some problems with all 3: health, wealth, and relationships, right? And so if you can find a niche within one of those categories, you are just a step closer to figuring out what your purpose is or what business you want to launch. All right. So search within your wheelhouse in order to figure out what it is that you're called to do or what you're called to expand on, or even what you're called to pivot to. Because some of you are already like, you're tired. You are fatigued at what you're doing, right? And you're like, I am ready to pivot. Maybe you're good at what you're doing and you're exhausted and you're ready to pivot, or you're just tired of what you're doing and you are ready to pivot. Well, search your heart. what areas that you have problems with in the past as it relates to health, wealth, and relationships. And I want you to niche it down. And this is really important for this next step. Now, back to introductions. If this is your second time with us, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat. A 2 if this is your second time with us. And if you're stuck with us, because you're always here, you know the routine, like Sandra family. Sandra, you trigger happy. Hey, Auntie D, I think Sandra might have you when it comes to the trigger, because she is on it. Like, usually Aunt D is like, anytime I ask for something, Aunt D is like on it. And again, a few weeks ago, Aunt D gave us a really great presentation on finances, on how many bank accounts you should have. I mean, it was really intense. It is on YouTube. Go and watch it. And then if Aunt D is still here when we go into our breakthrough rooms, you may want to tug on her and say, hey, can you give me just a little bit of information? And she may very well just drop her scheduling link so she can talk to you 100% about it. So again, thank you so much, Aunt D, for coming in and sharing your expertise on that, because it was absolutely amazing. The YouTube channel, I'll be sure to drop the link in the chat a little bit later, before or after you guys come back from your breakthrough sessions. Okay. Now, while I open up my trusty iPad here so I can share some models with you guys, somebody go ahead and please unmute and share the one rule that we have here on this platform. What is the one rule that we have?
Never pass up the opportunity to take the mic.
Auntie,
look, I wasn't going to try to let it get ahead of me this time.
You say, hey, look, I didn't come to play. D in the house, yes. Never pass up the opportunity to take the mics, my love. And it is so easy to do when you understand that you are speaking to share. You are not speaking to impress. I want you to remember that, loves, because your mic may very well be your business that you're supposed to open. It may be a speaking business, a coaching business. Your mic may be the book that you're supposed to write, or the podcast that you are supposed to launch. But my loves, remember, never pass up the opportunity to take the mic. Okay, now, so Queen, why were you talking to us earlier about niching? Because before you start plotting out your time, my loves, you need to make sure it's oriented right. Okay, great. You need to understand what your vision is. Your vision. And again, when I drop this YouTube link in a little bit, go in, you can watch the session replay on the 5 components of a worthy vision. That's going to help you to gain ground on the vision that God has for you. You need to understand your vision, because without a vision, love, you're just out driving around and you have no destination. You don't know what your destination is. So when people call you and they're like, hey, Andrea, can you come pick me up from the grocery store? Hey, Andrea, can you watch my kids at 4 p.m.? You're like, yes. Hey, Heidi, can you come and help me clean out my garage? You're like, yes, because you all have such great hearts, right? But if you had your vision in place, you will understand that it does not matter how good your heart is. You got to build up your immunities to know and say, no, I can't do it. Listen, God has given me a certain amount of energy every day. I'm not saying it's a little bit of energy, and I'm not saying that is a lot of bit of energy. I'm saying I am allotted what I am allotted. And I can't do those things. And when you are clear about your vision, you're clear about what you can say yes to and what you can say no to, right? There are people who are successful, who are making millions of dollars a day because they know how to allocate their time. Yes, some of them inherited their wealth, but there are a lot of first-time millionaires out there today. And so I want you to start thinking about the fact that you can always make more money, but you can't always make more what? Time. Time is such a precious resource. And so I need for you to covet your time like you do that brand new pair of $1,000 tennis shoes. Okay, so now I want you to remember that you need to understand your vision. What is your vision for life? Once you really get clear on your vision, the next thing I need for you to do is, of course, go in and set goals for that vision. You may say, in my vision, I am an author. If you are an author in your vision, I want you to remember that old thing that we learned a long time ago called SMART goals, right? That's a R. SMART. Remember SMART goals? Who remembers SMART goals, right? SMART goals says that our goals have to be specific and they have to be measurable and then they have to be achievable and then they also have to be relevant. In other words, if you never had a passion for oil, all of a sudden somebody calls you and they say, hey, you can make $1 million overnight drilling oil. But that's not in your wheelhouse. You know nothing about oil. Is it relevant to you? You probably can make $1 million, right? You probably can. But we have to be careful and be aware of those dangling golden carrots. Those dangling carrots that appear that still our plan A. All of a sudden, somebody else's plan B is now our plan A, right? So we want to make sure it's relevant to who we are. We're relevant. And then we also want to understand that we are time bound. Time bound. And pretty much we're concentrating on the time bound piece of it today. Now, once you understand your vision and your goals, and let me just give you an example of a SMART goal. So let's say that if I decided I wanted to be an author, right? For my SMART goal, in order for it to meet the requirements, I might say that I want to write an award winning, best selling, maybe financial, relationship, or wealth book, whatever the book, faith-based book, whatever the book is going to be about, faith-based book called, I'm going to be specific, called, whatever the name of the book is, called that, and it'll be consisting of 300 pages with, I don't know, what's fair for 300 pages? 40,000 words. 40,000 words. And I'm going to write it within, say, 12 months. Right? That's a SMART goal. I can break that down. Because now when I want to break that down to something smaller, if I understand it's 40,000 words in 12 months, then chances are I probably want to write something like, I don't know, you do the math on it. But when I spread it out on my calendar, now I know every day I need to write about, 2 to maybe 500 words a day. And I can actually task that out on my calendar because I can break it down for my SMART goal. Okay, so now once I do all of that, I understand my vision and I understand smaller goals. Now the next thing I want to make sure, I want to understand the audience. I want to understand the people that I'm called to serve. It is so important that you understand the people that you're called to serve. And I want you to remember this, powerhouses. I want you to be way more attached to the people than you are to your solution, because not everybody reads. There's a lot of great information out there just hidden away in books, but a lot of folks won't discover the answer to their problems because they don't read. Last time I read the stat, even for those of you that will publish or that are published, it says something along the lines that only 10% of the books that are sold at places like Barnes and Nobles, only 10% of those books will ever sell more than 1,000 copies. So there are people out there who are spending 5 and 10 years of their life writing a book, and they're lucky if it sells 50 copies. That's after your mama buy her copy, your children get their copy. And then you can even go into the stats further, and it says that now, out of all the people who buy your book, only 10% of those people will make it past page 10. And you know it's true because a lot of you are bibliophiles like me. You got a whole bunch of books and you haven't made it past page 10. Right? So you putting all that good information into those books and people are not digesting them like they should. But that's okay because you're more attached to your people than you are to your solution. And because you're more attached to your people, you're not going to be like Blockbusters and go out of business because you're more attached to your product. There is no reason why Blockbusters should have went out of business. They should have had their ear to the ground, listening to the problems that were coming in, and then they could have came up with the red box and then the Netflix and then whatever else, right? Because they had their ear to the ground with the people. They heard us when we said we didn't want to be charged for those rewind fees. They knew that. They heard us when we said we couldn't keep up with them darn cards. They knew that. And they should have came up with the next step in evolution, but they didn't. And so they're out of business. So I need for you to be that way as well. Be more attached to your people than you are to your product. All right? Because I remember when I had that, I think I had that little Zoom thing. Anybody had the Zoom? The BlackBerry? The pager? Products go out of style is what I'm saying. They go out, right? And then the next new thing comes in. But people will always be in style. People will always have problems. And they will also always have problems within the health, wealth, and relationship realms. Okay, now, let's say in this scenario, you understand your vision, you understand your goals, and you understand your audience, right? Okay, so now let's move on to the 4 models. Here's what I want you to write down. In order for your business to be successful, you must have chunks of your time dedicated to all 4 of these categories. The first category I want you to write down is your team building or team generating activities. Your team generating activities. These are all the tasks that you're going to do in order to accomplish the goals that's going to get you that grand vision that applies to building a team. The next thing I want you to concentrate on are your skills generating activities. Now, I want you to keep in mind with your skills generating activities, and let me go back here and write team. With your skills generating activities, I want you to keep in mind that if there's any confusion in you, it will show up as confusion in your business. Where you lack skills, your business will suffer. So this is your personal development area right here. The next category I want you to concentrate on is your community building activities, your community generating activities. Community. And when you think about your community, loves, don't just think about the people that you want in your masterminds. I want you to also think about the folks that will resource your communities. Like when you're doing your JVs. Somebody unmute and tell me what JVs are. What are your JVs?
Joint ventures.
Joint ventures.
That's right, your joint ventures. Your JVs will fall up under your communities. When you joint ventures, my loves, you have an opportunity to tap into other people's audience. And it's not about competition when you're doing joint ventures. It's about completion. It's about taking things to the next level. Do you know how much I love the fact that there is a Starbucks inside of the Barnes and Nobles? I love that they JV that way. I do. I can go into Barnes and Noble, sit and read books, and I can drink my coffee as well, right? So that is a JV. So I want you to start thinking about JV opportunities, joint ventures. When you're building your community, not just your tribe. And then the last thing is our RGA. Somebody unmute and tell me what my RGAs are.
Revenue
generating activities.
Thanks, Dr. Mary. Thanks, Aunt D. Revenue generating activities. All right, let's get into it, because these are the things that need to go on your calendar. So I want to give a special nod of inspiration to folks like Michael Gerber, who wrote the E-Myth, and then also John Maxwell, Dr. Mary, John Maxwell, for his principles on leaderships, because if you are interested in building systems and hiring processes, then the E-Myth will absolutely help you. The book, The E-Myth. If you are interested in becoming a better leader, then definitely John Maxwell. He has it going on. And if you need any assistance with leadership skills, then please get in contact with Dr. Mary. Wave your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. Get with Dr. Mary. Also get with Heidi. Heidi has a workshop coming up in New Mexico, isn't it, Heidi? That's coming up soon on leadership. She is also a huge John Maxwell advocate. They both are. So from Heidi to Dr. Mary, when I send you guys up into these breakthrough rooms, reach out to them. They're already prepared to receive you with their scheduling links or their email handles, so they can take you to the next level as it relates to that. Now, okay, so when we're talking about building your team, loves, we're talking about, I want you to start thinking about all the things that you need to do in order to scale your business without burning out. There is only one you. Wouldn't you agree? There's only one you. But wouldn't it be great if you can duplicate yourself? But you can't duplicate yourself, not physically, but you can duplicate yourself by hiring, right? So Miracle, my love, you can't do it by yourself. Terry, you can't do it by yourself. Rukama, you can't do it by yourself. Tatiana, not by yourself. Andrea, you can't do it by yourself, love. You got to build a team. All right? So, in building this team, I want you to start thinking about, we're going to take your future for a test drive. You are the CEO of at least a mid-sized company, and we're going to build your business that way. So we want you to hire at least a virtual assistant. And you can go to sites like Fiverr.com and you can hire a virtual assistant for about $10 an hour. You can hire, oh my goodness, I hired someone to come sing songs for me one time. I paid her like $15 and she came and she sung these CeCe Winans songs. You know, CeCe Winan has this song, and I know, I know, you never will. You never lost a battle, and I know you never will. And my daughter, she always does this remix, my little 8-year-old daughter, Baby Queen the third. She always says, I know, you know my will. And I'm like, baby, that ain't how the song go. But nonetheless, you can go to Fiverr.com and you can hire folks for anything. Now, let me say, loves, you will find some bad seeds on Fiverr.com. But I'm loving the fact that you're going to find bad seeds, because that's going to help you to build your systems. So that way, when you build your larger business, you know how to look out for folks that just are not complementary to your business. You will learn how to write out your values and actually live by your business values, and only hire folks who you know can align with those values, right? For example, now you're going to hire a virtual assistant. You're also going to put on your calendar check-ins with your team. You need meetings with your teams, right? And then you may decide now that I want to meet with my team once a week, or I want to meet with my team once every 2 weeks. But you need to meet with your team, and you need to train your team. This is all a part of your team building activities. If your team is just you and a friend, you and a coworker, that's fine. If it's you and that one virtual assistant, that's fine.
So this is one of the easier way you can remove rat from the house. You see, this is
Okay, well, let me go in and do so. Okay, thank you for muting. All right. So you build your team. Another thing, raise your hand if you are great with sales. You're like, oh, I'm ready to sell. If you know for a fact, okay, Rukama, if you know for a fact that you are great with sales, I would still say start exploring hiring a sales closer. Sales closer. All right. And there are companies out there that you can hire. Go and talk to them. I don't care if you are not ready right now. I don't care if you got $1 million dreams, but you got negative $2.22 in your bank account. I don't care about that. All right. We serve a God of abundance. But right now, for less than $50 for free, you can talk to people. And you can start learning the language of your next level. Again, start learning the level of your next language. And by having these conversations with businesses that offer closers, sales teams for you, you're going to start understanding what you need to do. All right. And most of these sales teams, what they'll do is they'll say, hey, listen, which is great. They'll say, if we don't hunt, we don't eat. So we'll do all of your sales calls for you. But when we close somebody, we want 10 or 20% of the sales, which is good, which is fair. That's fine. Some of you are going to fall so much in love with sales that you're going to decide, well, I don't want to do what I was doing before. Now I just want to sell because I can sit and sell other people's product. On one Saturday, I made about $6,000 just doing sales calls for about 4 hours. It was a good Saturday. Doing sales calls, helping somebody else to build their company. It was beautiful. Okay, now sales. Another thing you may want to do to build your team, because you guys know how I'm always saying, don't build a business. I want you to build culture. Don't build a company, build culture. Don't go bringing that stuff you learned when you worked at Delta or when you worked at the factory or when you did hair. Don't go bringing that crap into your business. This is your business. If you want to have Superhero Friday, have Superhero Friday. I want you to start focusing on the culture because cultures make a business successful, right? And so when you're plotting out your team building activities or your team generating activities, I want you to start thinking about what days you're going to celebrate wins and how you are going to celebrate those wins. Let's see if I can, nope, can't stretch it out. Okay, so wins, I'm going to go over here some. Some other things you may want to do is hire someone to be in charge of your client acquisition. That could very well can be your VA. Your VA can be in charge of your client acquisition. Anybody know what, does anybody have questions about client acquisition? I'm sure some of you do. I'm just going to tell you. Client acquisition is a system that you need to have in place. Your client acquisition is that thing that takes a stranger and turns that stranger into a client. So the client acquisition process is this. This person sees you on social media. They like you on social media. What do you do with them next? Some of you just go in and say, well, thank you for liking my post. And it stops there. That's not client acquisition because there's no funnel. There's no system. There are no next steps that turns that stranger into a client. You have to have next step processes, and those next step processes should be on autopilot. You should be able to sit, map out systems, and then because those systems in place, you are making money in your sleep. Because your client acquisition is in place, that's turning a stranger into a client. When you go on a cruise, you should come back from that 7-day cruise richer than when you left on that cruise because your client acquisition process is in place. All right. So Alex Hormozy is who I'm going to give a nod of inspiration to. Alex Hormozy. I think I'm
Could you
spelling his name.
clarify what the VA stood for?
Oh, great question, my love. VA is your virtual assistant. Virtual
Thank
assistant.
you.
Thank you. Virtual assistant is your VA. They will do everything for you. They will, if you need speaking gigs, for those of you that want to get speaking gigs, you can actually assign them the task of scouring the internet for conferences and getting information, sending emails to the point of contacts, for example, for those conferences. So then they turn to you later on and say, hey, listen, we have a possibility that you're going to be speaking at this next conference here and there. Right? Isn't it great to multiply yourself? So VA can do everything. They can answer all those emails. They can set up systems for you, but virtual assistant. I used to have my VA. She would come on with me here and work all the systems while I spoke with you guys. Right? So a VA is a virtual assistant. Now, Alex Hormozy, if I didn't spell his name right, somebody write his name right in the chat. But he's really huge on client acquisition. And if you go, you have to make at least, last time I checked, I think it was you had to make at least $5 million for him to work with you. And his philosophy is he has nothing to sell you. However, he wants to help people now. So if you go to his website, he has a lot of free tools out there. Just sharing a good thing with you. Alex Hormozy. All right. So he can definitely help you with understanding the client acquisition process. Another thing you may need on your team is a graphics designer. And then also just, I want to say a copywriter. Copywriters are great. Help you to come up with some really creative writing for your marketing. Because when you write stuff on your landing pages, on your websites, even on your social media, it serves a purpose. You're not just plotting stuff just so that you can get attention. We're not attention junkies. everything we do is done with intention. And so when you write something, it should appeal to your people so that they want to opt in into your products, your services, your workshops, etc., etc. Copywriters know how to put in all of the emotional twists and the intellectual simulations and all that stuff and sprinkle it just perfectly in layman's terms for your people so that they will say, yes, put me in the game, coach. Right? So keep that in mind. And as Aunt D would say, Trello, but it's actually pronounced Trello. Trello, you can actually go to sites like Trello and you can set up a free account with them and you can start building your projects on Trello. Correct my spelling if I didn't spell that right, somebody. Trello. And then there's also Slack. You can also try Slack. I've used Trello. I love Trello. But you can also use Slack as well. And it's a great way to start plotting out stuff because eventually when you build your team, my loves, you're going to need a board that when they come onto Zoom, or if it's face to face, that where you can say, okay, where are you with this? Here's the vision. Here's all the goals. And if some of you, if you're using other products or services out there, put it in the chat. Share a good thing with your sisters here so they may be inspired to go out and use the thing that you are using. Okay, now let me go over here. We already know that without a team, you're going to be burnt out. And if you're already burnt out right now, it's because you don't have a team. I can't remember the last time I cleaned my house, y'all. I have a team. They come in and they clean for me. I just don't have the time to do those things. I may do a little light something, but I just don't. My wonderful lady, she cooks me a nice meal. I love her so much. She washes the clothes. She cleans the refrigerator. She does everything. We need a team. Okay, now let's jump over here to skills generating activities. Now here, I want to give a shout out to folks like the late, great Stephen Covey. You know Stephen Covey, he wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? That's a really great book to read if you know you need to build skills. Also, Lisa Nichols, Og Mandino, and even Tony Robbins. You know, Tony Robbins is really huge on self-development. So here on your calendar, you should be plotting out masterminds. What mastermind groups can you attend? This is an example. You're already doing it. This is already on your calendar now. So make sure it's on your calendar for next week, right? What coaches can you link up to? What mentors? What books should you be reading? One of my philosophies is I have to have at least 30 minutes of reading time a day. So after my workout, I'm at the shake shop, surrounded by good people, and I'm sitting there with at least 2 to 3 books because I'm cross-referencing. What workshops can you attend? Now, because coaching is not a regulated business, again, coaching is a non-regulated business. Do we have any realtors on here? Anybody real estate? Realtors have to do, yeah, you know how you guys have to do the ECUs, the credits. What is it called? What is it called?
Continue education credits.
Right, there you go. The continue education credits that you have to do like once a quarter or once a year in order to renew. It's not like that for us coaches. You have to, in essence, create your own continue education credits, right? And so, my loves, the skills building is where it's at. And so sometimes what I will do is I will go to folks who are doing something very identical as me. Another good one who's doing something very identical as me is I think his name is Israel Durant. Anybody heard of Israel Durant? Oh, I love him. Doing something very similar. His programs are $20,000, $25,000 each to get in with him. I go because I want to know what's new, what's out there. And so just having that on my calendar, it keeps me new and fresh. And sometimes folks will come to my workshops, they do the same thing, and I love it. And I don't mind at all. I can't compete with you when I'm rooting for you. Okay, so you got your masterminds, you have your industry conferences. You should have all of these things, or some of these things, plotted all over your calendar. How can you stay abreast of industry trends? Google. I know Google has a trend alert. You can type in Google Trends. I haven't done it in a while. But if you go to Google, type in trend alerts or Google alerts, and you just type in the words, just certain keywords like Og Mandino, John Maxwell, people you love or subjects you love. Anytime it pops up across the internet, you can choose if you want to get these alerts weekly, daily, monthly. If you want these alerts through your text message or through your email. And when this stuff pops up, you are alert. You are kept abreast of things that are happening. So you can also try out Google Alerts so you can stay alert of what's going on. All right, you can go in and type in Sarah Jakes Roberts. I know she has a huge Woman Evolve conference going on right now. You can go in and type in alerts for that as well so that you are abreast of when it's going to come near you or if you want to fly out to it. All right. So these things should be plotted on your calendar. So what skills do you need to keep fresh or exercise? For me, I'm always, when it comes to speaking, I'm going to put speeching, but I'm going to put speech. Speaking, though, that's one skill that I'm always in tap with, because most of you guys know all of my life, high school, I had a speech impediment. I had a stutter, right? So I'm always staying abreast of techniques on that. I should have put this first, spirituality. And then my last one is sales. I love sales. So those three things, I've narrowed down the top 3 skills for me that I absolutely must master, and I could spend a lifetime mastering, is spirituality, all things God. When it comes to Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, I am there. And then speaking, and then sales. So narrow it down so that you're not into everything. I know that I'm really interested in hypnotism. I'm like really interested in how it works. I went to see if I could be hypnotized. It didn't work on me, but because I know I'm interested in it, I have to beware of the dangling carrots because it doesn't fit into the grand scheme of my vision. I'm only allotted so much time. So if it doesn't have to do with God or speaking or sales, chances are I'm not at those type of conferences or reading any other type of books. All right, now, so let's jump over here to your community building activities. Shout out to Seth Godwin. He wrote a book called Tribes, and then Pat Flynn with the book Superfans. So if you want some more information on community building, you can go there. So when we're talking about community building, again, we're talking about things that you need to do to keep your community alive and nurture your community. Again, things that you need to do to keep them alive and nurture them. Because once you get your community, it's not enough just to say, hey, I got them. You got to keep them because everybody's in their face. Everybody wants their attention. So what are you going to do? I need you to start plotting those things on your calendar right now. Those things that you're going to do include posting on social media. Your social media posts. Maybe you're going to go live on social media as well. Some things you're going to do is your JVs, joint ventures. Remember the collaboration we talked about? That is a great way to build your community, especially as far as resources. I've gotten a lot of clients from podcasts and just JVing. It's just amazing. So you got your social media, you got your collaborating with peers. You can also go in and create your Facebook groups. Now, I will tell you, I'm not a fan of Facebook groups. I like groups like Telegram. I like Discord. The reason why I'm not a big fan, Facebook groups are very valuable. You can use them. But the reason why I'm not a huge fan of Facebook groups is because at any time, anybody can land in Facebook jail. Somebody can say they don't like your post. Facebook will block you, put you in jail for like 7 days. And if you have plans on doing a class in Facebook, say next week on a Tuesday, and you put all this marketing behind it, and all of a sudden you in Facebook jail, what do? Because Facebook will show you very quickly who the real owner is. Telegram won't shut you down. Discord won't shut you down. There's some other sites out there. And also, when you set up, how many of you belong to 1,001 Facebook groups like I do, but you never go visit them? Like I belong to a lot. I don't do anything there. So it's easy to get distracted is my point. So I may have the intention of logging on to visit somebody's Facebook group, but then the cute little dog on the skateboard pops up. And the next thing you know, I'm off into a rabbit hole and I never go to that Facebook group. So there are a lot of distractions, right? So keep that in mind. All right, so let's keep going. You can also think about newsletters. Newsletters are great for nurturing your community. You can also think about free content. Some of you already have it in your heart. You know you should have did it a long time ago. Your ebooks, your guides, ebooks, your guides, checklists. I'm gonna shorten it. That's a check. That's a check right there. Checklist. And then also just doing things like following up with people you know you should have followed up with a long time ago, right? Your follow up, it could be with inactive members. Follow up, and then just with following up with people who you met. It's supposed to be met. So when you meet people, loves, I encourage you to create an Excel worksheet. When I meet people, when I'm at seminars, I'll say, send a text message to Queen's Notes. I just met Jacora. Jacora is fabulous when it comes to building wealth. Make sure you connect with her about her family. Reminder, she has a beautiful daughter who's on her way to college. And connect with her about a possible JV on empowering women who are first time, who are fresh out the military. And then I'll send myself that note. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll send myself that note. And then later on, when I get to my Excel worksheet, or I just forward it to my VA and they put it on the Excel worksheet. Now I have a working document, a resource list, and I'm not using this as my filing cabinet. And then the follow-up is going to get plotted on the calendar. The follow-up probably will be an email. Okay, let's keep going. So even if you are like, Queen, I don't have a lot of money to do all of this stuff right now, that's fine. There are some things you can do right now. Right now, you can go online. You can make a list of workshops, and you can attend workshops and then reach out to them for JV, for joint venture possibilities. You can set up a Facebook group right now for free. And then you can even write out the schematic of what your newsletter will look like. You can do that stuff for free. And then when the money comes, then you can just go ahead and do what you need to do. I have a client who when she was living paycheck to paycheck, all the things she knew she needed to build her business, she would go into Amazon and build the list, the stuff that she needed. And then when the money came, she would just go to Amazon and hit pay. Right? Okay. Now let's go into this last group because I want to get you into a breakout room. Okay. The last group is your revenue generating activities. You know you're going to be broke if you do not have any revenue generating activities. The problem is this, you good-hearted powerhouses who I love so much. The problem is you're going to read, you're going to show up to the masterminds. You're going to do that. The problem is you may start to build a team. You may delegate. You may get your sister or your friend or your children to do something. You might start doing a little bit as far as building a team. You may even do some stuff as it relates to, as far as building your community. You may, join a Facebook group or build a Facebook group. You may do that. But what I find is a lot of you not asking for your money. And it's usually for one reason. You do not have an offer. And if you do have an offer, you got $2 offers on the table. You know how hard it is to achieve seven-figure wealth, $2 at a time? We need you to create a high-ticketed offer. So for revenue-generating activities, I need for you to write high-ticket offer. What are some things you can do to create a high-ticket offer? And I'm here to tell you, you guys heard me talk about coaching in the beginning. Coaching is a great way to do it. People will pay you $1K, $5K, $10K, $50K to solve their problems in coaching. They will. Just imagine, right? If this week you sign one 5K client, you sign one 5K client, what would that do for your life right now? Just 5K. To talk about what you're going to talk about anyway, because we talk about what we are. But somebody's paying you $5K. All right, high ticket offer. So I need you to build a high ticket offer. If you don't have a high ticket offer, if a millionaire came to you right now and said, I want to give you $1 million, and you don't have a solution, shame on you. I need for you to have an answer to that. And you may say, listen, Queen, I don't want to be a millionaire. Then that's absolutely fine. But loves, let me say this. Don't be naive about the power of money. Like the people who are in socially underdeveloped countries, who need wells built, who need cures for diseases, they don't need you sending them Kleenex. They need cures. They need houses. Like people got real problems out here. And you say, well, I don't want to make any money. If I just simply make $30,000 a year, I'm good. Then how selfish are you? And that lets me know that you haven't worked on your vision. Nobody's telling you to use the money to go buy Lamborghinis. Nobody's telling you to use that money to go buy to have golden elevators installed in your house. If you want those things, that's your prerogative, as Bobby Brown would say. Have at it. Lean with it, rock with it. But you can really do some good stuff with that money. I mean, some really good stuff. I really hate that how Hollywood has kind of set us up. Hollywood shows us these pictures of superheroes. All of our superheroes are broke. Every last one of them, they're broke. Except Batman. But he don't have no superpowers. But he rich. But the villains, they business people. And they rich. And they got money for this and that. I mean, they've done a number on us. And we can't even keep our lights on. But people who are not faith-driven, they swimming in money. Oh my goodness, they are saturating the world with their madness and their poison. But we sitting here thinking like, well, I only need 50,000. How you gonna help people with fear? How you gonna help other people when you can't even pay your own bills? So I just want you to get over that right now. And get your just due. It is okay if people pay you for your services. It is absolutely okay. So create your high ticket offer. It ain't got to be the only thing you sell, but have a high ticket offer. So you have your high ticket offer. Another RGA is, I want you to set up a sales funnel. A sales funnel. Most of you are already acquainted with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence anyway. You can go to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, I want to show people how to become wealthy by creating wealth generating apps, the applications like maybe on your iPhone apps. And I want it to target youth. I want it to be called Lemonade Stand or whatever. Maybe you had a lemonade stand growing up. Call it Lemonade Stand. Here are my expertise. Now, ChatGPT, make me rich. It will give you a plan. And look at it. Now, because it's robotic, it ain't going to be 100% great, but it's going to make you think. And you can go in and then you can humanize it with your special spin. All right. But the sales funnel is the thing that takes a stranger, turns them into a client, and then you may decide the first thing I want to sell that stranger. Here's your sales funnel. You may say, I'm going to give them a free offer, which is your lead magnet. Free offer, lead magnet. That free offer may be an ebook. It may be a checklist. It may be whatever, but it's your free offer. So when I go to your landing page, like if most of you guys go to therehearsalstage.com, you will see that I have a free offer there at therehearsalstage.com. The free offer is, if I remember, it is a one sale. It's a what is it? I haven't been on that site in a second. I have to ask my guy. It is a speaker sheet, right? It's a speaker sheet. When you are hired to speak, the people who are hiring you, they want to see your speaker one sheet. And with your speaker one sheet, it has all this information on you. Now, you could go to Fiverr.com and you could pay somebody $100, $20, or $200 to build you one. Or if money is tight right now, you could very well start off and build it yourself with this speaker one sheet that I have there. Once people go in, they will give me their email address. And after I've gotten their email address, then it releases the speaker one sheet. Quid pro quo, right? Relationship of reciprocity. And they got it for free. Now, once they do that, now they're on my funnel cycle. Now, after they've done that, they get something next. They get another offer. They may get an offer to come here with you guys, for example, to attend a masterclass or a workshop. And they could be paid for or it could be free. Then after that, they may get an offer to a 2-hour masterclass. At that 2-hour masterclass, because I'm building like, and I'm building trust. Some of you like me, right? So with the know, like, and trust that some of you may have for me, I very well at the end of this could pitch an offer. I don't pitch offers on this platform at all, right? This is all about me helping messengers of Christ to get your products out there so that you can show up as strong representatives of God in the marketplace. So I don't pitch. I won't sell you anything here. All right. So, but if I were at the end of this, I will pitch an offer. After that, then you will become a client, a coaching client. And then at that point, $5K would be the floor to work with me. I don't deal in ceilings. I deal in floors. All right. 5K would be the ceiling to work with me after that. So you need a funnel that looks something like that. And if you go to ChatGPT, you can ask it to help you to create emails for it, copy for it, all kind of stuff. And even create positions for people you need to hire to help you for it. Use that. Okay. All right. So that's your sales funnel. You also, up under your RG, remember we're talking about revenue generating activities. You also need to have sales calls plotted. Sales calls. You need to have sales calls. If you're not doing the sales calls, your VA or your virtual assistant is doing the sales calls. If he or she is not doing it, then your sales team is doing it. But somebody needs to be on these sales calls. Sales calls, converting strangers. Also, revenue generating activity will be testing ads. Now, there are two types of ads. You have organic and then you have paid. Organic ads is like most of you found me on organic ads, like Eventbrite. I didn't pay anything to advertise to you on Eventbrite if you found me on Eventbrite. But if you found me through Facebook, I paid for those ads, right? And so those were paid. So right now, if money is tight, you start off with organic, free ads. But eventually, you will need to do paid ads. Eventually, free ads will only get you so far. And with those paid ads, you can go to Facebook and run ads there, Instagram. Your ads go where your people are. You can also, up under revenue generating activities, you can create some limited time promotions. Limited promotions. You can also create a 7-day challenge. You might say, hey, $97 for my 7-day challenge. I found that, and this is a little off, but well, no, it's not. We're up under RGs. I found that it is so much easier for me to sell a $5,000 product than it is for a $1,000 product. It is so, you guys, in time, for those of you that haven't tried it, I will tell you, it is hard to sell people who are of the mind, who've never invested in themselves. It is hard to sell them a $25 product. But people who are already used to investing in themselves, oh my goodness, it is so much easier to sell them $5,000 products. All right. Now, another thing you may put on your calendar as far as RGAs, your revenue generating activities, would be to upsell the folks you already got. Upsell your existing clients. If you've already sold them a $500 product, sell them a $1,000 product, for example. Now, I want to just say, when I say sell them, I mean help them. Don't just be after people's money. If you have developed something that you know will solve a problem for them, then offer them the opportunity to invest in it. They're going to go to somebody else and invest, or something else and invest and get the problem solved regardless. Why not with you? So you are upselling them and you are creating what's called LTV, which is lifetime value. LTV, lifetime value. Then another thing that can be on your calendar is follow up with leads. Now, real quick, here is I'll give you two things that you can do right now for less than $50 to start you on your journey for revenue generating activity. And this is something that Powerhouses who you already know and did, which is you can go to Calendly and create your scheduling software for free. They have a free trial. I think it's 14 days. But if you're anything like me, if you know you're going to have to pay for something, you're going to start making the money so that you can justify it. And so with Calendly, you can actually even create an option on there where if somebody wants your expertise, if you don't have a website yet, you can say, okay, here's my Calendly link, Calendly link. And if you want to get on my calendar, it's $97. It's $97. It's $100. It's $500. It's whatever. And they'll pay right there through Calendly, and you'll get your money, and then you show up, right? And you coach them or you help them, or however you want to do. I use Calendly also for something called an accountability fee, because when people want to get a piece of my time, except for good people like Rukama, she and I had a great talk not too long ago. She showed up. I knew I didn't have to send her link because she's serious about her business. And so with her, I didn't even try to send her the accountability link. But for a lot of people, they will get on your calendar and they won't show up. Right? And so you may say, listen, here is my link. It is $97 to get on my calendar. When you show up, that money is automatically refunded. But if you don't show up, I keep the money, you go your way and I go mine. And if you want to get on my calendar again, you'll get the same link. It makes people respect your time. Okay, and another thing you can do, Calendly, again, free trial. After that, I think it's like $14 a month. But if you get one person to schedule on your Calendly link for $97 or $47, you set the price. You set the terms. Play around with it, it's fun. But if you get one person, it covers the monthly fee. You won't care about $14 a month. And then the other thing you can do is go in and create your landing page. I use Kajabi for everything because I don't like having systems everywhere. Kajabi it takes a learning curve to learn. But I use Kajabi. It's about, I think it's, I don't know, $250 a month, maybe $197 a month for Kajabi. But for those of you that are a little bit more frugal, you can use ConvertKit to create your landing page. I think that they have a free trial as well. But play around with these systems. Play around with them. Let me look at my notes and make sure I cover everything with you. Oh, one more thing. Darn it. And I want to get you guys into the breakthrough room. When you are putting these labels on your calendar, because keep in mind, when you're doing this, you want to make sure when you look at your calendar for the week or for the month, you want to make sure, and you want to be able to look at it and be like, okay, I got some skill generating activities on my calendar. You should be able to look at it and say, I got some team building activities on my calendar. I got some community building activities on my calendar. And of course, I got some RGA, some revenue generating activities on my calendar, some marketing activities, which goes up under RGAs as well, some sales activities, which goes up under that. If I have these things on my calendars, oh my goodness, my business is going to be successful. It has no choice but to be successful because you're giving it the time. And again, things that get scheduled gets what? It gets done. Things that get scheduled gets done. If it ain't on your calendar, it is not going to get done. People will come and they will hijack your time if it ain't there. So put it on your calendar. Now, when you put it on your calendar, my love, I do not want you to put something on your calendar like create sales funnel. How boring is that? I need for you to label your calendar with intentions. And so you may put something like power hour, money moves, work on the next best-selling book in Christian business. I want you to put labels on your calendar that has oomph, connecting with clients, solving people's problems. Like really put something. I know I'm prior service Army and Navy. Most of you know that. If I put something like physical training on my calendar, I'm gonna skip over that. I'm not. I will absolutely skip over that. But if I know that I want to go on vacation, for example, if I put something like be the sexiest one on the December cruise, that's going to make me want to work out. I will get up and work out for that because I have that. And I don't care about being the sexiest one. I care about being the holiest one because I show up on a cruise with my wraps and my Jesus apparel and my long flowing things. But for some of you, that may motivate you to work out. If I put on my calendar, for example, which I had on there for a while because I have a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old now, Empress and baby Queen the third, I had on my calendar something along the lines, and it wasn't this long, but because I'm 48, I'm 48 years old. By the time they graduate college, I still want to be able to pick them up and spin them around at their college graduation. So I had something to the effect of, you know, pick them up energetically after college graduation. It was something cute, but it wasn't that, but that's what it amounted to. My point is create a label for these things that drive you, not create sales funnel, not hire a virtual assistant, right? Search your heart and come up with something. Any questions? Any questions before I send you into a breakthrough room real quick? Any thoughts or insights? Anybody want to share anything? Go ahead and unmute. Remember our rule of never pass up the opportunity to take the mic.
What's the benefit of using Kajabi?
So I love Kajabi because it's all inclusive. You can build your community on Kajabi. You can launch your podcast. You can you launch your marketing strategies. Some of you are paying a funnel builder. I know when I had someone who was in charge of my funnel, I paid them $1,000 a month. With Kajabi, it is so easy. You go in and you just put release this email at this date time group to these people at this time, and you can track it. You can go in and see who opened it, what is your open rate. These are things that you need to keep track of. Eventually, some of you will learn to write out your KPIs. Anybody know what KPIs are? I know Aunt D knows what it is. Anybody
Key
know?
performance indicators.
Your
I'm sorry, I didn't want to
Oh,
answer.
no, you're perfect. And I knew you knew it. Your key performance indicators, your KPIs. So in other words, when you send these emails, you need to know which emails are performing high, which emails are successful. And you need to look at them and say, because of this subject line, for some reason, this subject line gets open a lot better than that subject line. So you want to keep using subject lines that are similar to that one. And the only way for you to know it is to have a professional system in which you can go in and say, okay, which your email open rate, if it's higher than 20%, believe it or not, higher than 20%, that's good. That's a good email open rate, right? And so then you can go in and you can track your KPIs, your key performance indicators. Let me open up Kajabi now. And when you get back, I will drop that link. I will drop a link to the YouTube. I will drop you a link so that you can get a nice discount if you decide to use Kajabi. And then I'll put it on my calendar because remember I talked about nurturing your community? Then I can put that on my calendar to give you guys a class on Kajabi so that you can, because when you first open it up, it's like, what in the world? It is a learning curve. But that way I can help shorten your learning curve and you can build your landing pages on it. I mean, oh my goodness, you could build your business on Kajabi. It is amazing. But without Kajabi, you're going to go to one person, one system to help build your landing pages. Then you're going to go to another system for your CRM. Anybody know what the CRM is? CRM?
Client management.
Yes, your client relationship management system. You need a client relationship management system. And so you got all these different systems out there, but instead of logging to all these different systems, isn't it great to just be able to log into one system and it's all right there? Right? It is amazing. So, Kajabi, listen, my loves, let me be fair to you and get you into a breakthrough room so you can go in and talk and chop it up. You can network, share your information. Those of you that have never been